These are magnet tablets. The word tablet in Montessori terms refers to a rectangular material that's used to teach a sensory experience or a property of the material. For instance, we have the sandpaper tablets and we have the barrier tablets. These are magnet tablets, and they're going to teach us something about how magnetic fields interact with different materials. They're a great example of how simple things can be overlooked in a classroom. So we have tin on the left, copper in the center, and clear acrylic plastic on the right. I also want to note that the tin and the copper, and the plastic as well, but the copper especially, is a great practical life exercise because it's going to corrode being exposed to air. It needs to be polished regularly. They all clean up well, but the copper is especially satisfying because the color change is so dramatic. So we're going to use the plastic first to illustrate the fact. We've got a couple of ring magnets here that magnetic field penetrates the plastic as if it isn't there. And in the case of plastic, so does light. So we have light and magnetism penetrating the field, and it's very easy for the child to move them around, flip a magnet and push instead. And there you have that simple property. Let's slide them off. Now we'll take the copper. And since magnets don't stick to copper, we have the same effect, except that light doesn't pass through this one. So you can feel it happening, but you can't see it. But you still know that the magnetic field is passing through the material. Then we'll take the tin, and the magnet sticks to the tin. Put the other magnet on the other side, and what happens is I now cannot move one magnet with the other because the magnetic field does not pass through the material. It's absorbed by the material. That's a basic magnetic property of different kinds of metal and plastic and glass. In order to make this a little more free form and interesting, you introduce a large piece of plastic and ellipsoidal magnets because they spin and turn more easily. And this challenges the child's dexterity, just getting the magnets on the plastic, balanced, control of air there, balanced, and then associated. And once you have them, you can play with them. You can move them around, you can rotate the fields to the opposite so that they push and flip. You can do it vertically as well as horizontally. And so the child gets the realization that a magnetic field will penetrate a physical object. You can put the child into the circuit by using her own hand as an example. So if I take the ellipsoidal magnet and I put it in my fingers, and I put the other one on the other side, I have the magnetic field penetrating my body. Kids love this. I got to tell you, they'll do it on their ears, they'll do it on their nose, they'll do it on their hands, because it puts them into the phenomenon you're discussing. So there you have it, magnetic tablets.